Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rob Has a Podcast, but I'm not Rob. I'm Taran Armstrong, and I am here with the LFC to talk about Celebrity Big Brother US. Got to make sure you say US too, because there's a UK version. And we're going to talk about the cast here. The cast was released on Sunday night, last night, during the Grammys. And, normally we have Rob Cesternino, the namesake of the podcast, here to talk about all of the things. But he's actually been busy all day today at CBS lot itself, doing interviews all day long, the official interviews for CBS. So those will hopefully be dropping later tonight. So if you want to check those out, go to cbs.com, and Rob Cesternino himself will be there interviewing all of the celebrity contestants. Big Jeff, he went on to do bigger and better things, I guess. And now we've got Rob Cesternino stepping in, doing the CBS stuff. So very happy for Rob, very excited. We're hopefully going to get Rob on the draft that we're going to do later on in the week. So we're looking at Thursday right now. So Rob will be here to talk about all of the interviews and the cast and everything Thursday night. Make sure you come and check that out as well. But for right now, I've got two great people with me here to talk about this released cast. One is somebody who tells me that he knows a lot about these people. Brent Waldemar. How you doing, Brent?
I'm doing great. It is so nice to be talking with you guys again, Marissa and Taran. And I have to tell you that, like you said, Jeff Schroeder moved on to bigger and better things. And then CBS was like, we need somebody who does not have bigger and better things in their life. And so they got Rob Cesternino.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Yeah.
We were talking. He's like, so what's my big mosquito question? I don't know. We've also got here Melissa Denny. How you doing, Melissa?
I'm great because I'm so excited to be back. I feel like I haven't talked about Big Brother in a really long time, and too long, really. So this is very, very exciting, and I can't wait to get started on everything.
Yes, very exciting. Big Brother, there needs to be more of it, and there's going to be a lot more of it, because we're going to have this Celebrity Big Brother going straight into Big Brother Canada 6, and then, of course, Big Brother 20 this summer. So very excited to start all of that coverage right now. So let's get into this cast. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Brent, what were your thoughts overall when you saw this cast?
As I told you guys in our group Twitter message, this is like home run for Brent Waldemar. I mean, everybody in this cast I know or follow in my real life. I am so big into, Broadway and beauty pageants and reality TV and Dancing with the Stars and Celebrity Apprentice. And even I dabble in politics a little bit. So I know all these people. And of course, many people are like, I don't know, who's that? Who that? I'm like, I know everybody. So I'm here ready to talk about it. And I'm very excited.
Awesome. Melissa, what did you think when you saw this cast list?
I was half like, yeah, this is about what I expected, but then half disappointed because I don't know. In some of these rumors, they were saying that Lindsay Lohan or Misha Barton were going to be on it. And I was like, oh my God, I have to see that. I didn't realize I needed to see that until it was said and until it was like potentially an option. And I was like, I'm so looking forward to that. And then when neither of them were on the list, I was a little disappointed, but it was a pipe dream anyway. So I'm just very excited.
Yeah, it was very interesting to me. Like all of the rumors were terribly wrong. Like none of them were correct.
Yes. And let me say that Julie BB Insider on Twitter, y'all need to unfollow that bitch right now, because she was telling us, I don't know who the hell was going to be on this season, but it wasn't the 11 people that we got. So all of those people that followed her and other Twitter accounts claiming to have inside knowledge, y'all need to unfollow them right now. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and even like I feel like the first name I heard was Johnny Bananas from The Challenge. It was even one of the motivations I had to start watching The Challenge. Like, okay, maybe this guy's going to be on the cast. I have also been watching for Natalie and Victor, and not even Johnny Bananas is on this cast. Of course, Matt Eisman has been trolling everyone for days. Yes, it's a pipe dream. Like, I would have loved to see him on. I think he would have been fantastic. But of course, the fact that he was trolling so hard meant, of course, there's no way that he was actually on the cast. They'd murder him if he was actually doing that. And
I actually thought that he was on the cast because Julie Chen tweeted that emoji-gram, which was code for everybody who was currently in the or going to be in the house, and one of them was a ninja or a Karate Kid kind of suit. And obviously, I was like, that has to be that means ninja. That means Matt Eisman. But of course, it did not mean that. It meant somebody else.
Did it mean the UFC fighter? Who was it?
Yes.
Okay. The second I saw the pie emoji and someone said like, "Oh, that's Shannon Elizabeth," I was like, "Oh my god, yeah, that's totally her."
Oh, totally her.
Like that's totally her because she was an American Pie. Like who else would that be? Everyone was like, "Oh, it's a chef. It's Paula Deen. It's Paula Deen." I'm like, no, definitely American Pie.
Yeah, Shannon Elizabeth probably the most no-brainer casting of the cast probably. But let's start from the top here. We're gonna go in order of the CBS bios. It's alphabetical order. So we're gonna start with Ariadna Gutierrez.
Very good, Taryn.
All right. She's 24, an actress. And I don't know much about her. So Brent, give us a history lesson here if you know her.
Let me tell you. This was the La La Land before La La Land happened, okay? This is the girl who was in the Miss Universe pageant, who was told she was Miss Universe and was Miss Universe for about a minute and a half until Steve Harvey realized that he had read the wrong name, and they literally, drag queen style, took the crown off of her and moved it over to the other girl bye. So that's how we know Adriana Gutierrez. And by the way, I just want to say really quickly that there is also a really weird symmetry or synergy happening here. Not a symmetry too, I guess. But Valentina, who was a drag queen on RuPaul's Drag Race, which I also podcast about, played Miss Colombia Adriana Gutierrez. She played her on the Snatch Game on RuPaul's Drag Race. So like it's all coming together, Taryn.
Well, wouldn't it be fantastic if she got topazed at the end of Big Brother? And then, I mean, that would be pretty great.
I mean, I'm waiting for the Melissa. We have to have a congratulations, Ariadna. You're the new HOH. And then like Erica from Big Brother All Stars. I'm sorry, we got to take
like,
it.
Oh no. Oh. Awkward.
Working.
Seriously. I know. I don't know enough about her, to be honest. I remember hearing about that whole Steve Harvey thing and how it was it was a big deal and then turned into a big joke. But I don't know anything about her as a person or anything. And also it says she's an actress, but I thought she was just a beauty pageant competer.
I think after that whole thing happened, she moved on to like telenovelas, and I don't know exactly what she's done, but I'm sure she's doing stuff down in South America. The thing that I have to say, Taryn, that, because they have bios for all these people and they ask them certain questions like they ask every Big Brother house guest. They said, which past house guest do you like the most? She couldn't name one.
Yeah.
That does not give me lots of confidence in Miss Gutierrez, I have to tell you. Yeah, I will say this, that she seems relatively nice and she doesn't seem like she needs a lot. She was asking for her books. Obviously that all she's going to get is the Bible unless they change the rules for the celeb. So she's not going to have her books in there. So outside of that, she's going to have to make do. But she does seem to be less needy than many of the other people cast. And so that plus her looks, I can see her going a long way.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing because actually a fair amount of these people weren't able to name a single former house guest. And that's particularly interesting because they're only in sequester for a couple days before they go into the house. Normally, a house guest, they're going to be sequestered for upwards of a week or so, and they're going to have a lot of downtime to watch previous seasons before they go into the house. And I think we often find that their gameplay is colored by the season that they end up watching in sequester because that's their only exposure to the show. I don't think we're going to see a lot of these people have a lot of time or even really the desire to watch the previous seasons. So I think a fair amount of them are, Ariadna probably in particular, is going to come in to this version of Big Brother and have no idea at all what the show is about or how to play. And I think that's kind of interesting. I think we'll see like what somebody kind of just naturally does in this game. She says she has no strategy going in. She wants to treat people with respect, and hopefully they will treat her with respect. And I really feel like she has no idea what she's getting
motto.
into. Yeah, this she has no idea.
That's exactly what everyone says going into Big Brother.
She says everything happens for a reason, which is a phrase that I am not fond of. And she.
Oh, really? I am. I love that. I really do think that everything happens for a reason, but that's just me in my life, Terrence. So
okay.
And by the way, if she was just the runner-up, she wouldn't be on the show. We wouldn't know who she is. She wouldn't be an actress. The fact that happened to her was such a gift because everybody feels horrible for her because that's everyone's nightmare is winning something and then being told, I'm sorry, you're not really the winner. Sit down, which is what happened to her in front of billions of people. So, I feel like everything happens for a reason, Terrence.
But it's true. I mean, certainly for her, in that situation for her, it certainly worked out. And I think it's a funny phrase. I'll say that. It's up there with YOLO for me. So this is another thing that I noticed. She talked about she wanted to bring in her line of sunglasses because they're just so great, and she would love to show them off to the world. I'm hoping that we don't get a lot of self-promotion.
Oh. Please no.
But I'm guessing that we're going to be getting some of it. Another contestant that we'll talk about later, James Maslow, he released a YouTube video where he talked about all his socials and his merch, and I'm just like, oh man, let's keep the promoting on the down low here as much as possible.
Yeah, that was not a good look for him, but we'll get to him, Taryn.
Yes. So anything else on Ariadna before we move on? There wasn't a whole lot to glean from my perspective.
There wasn't either. Melissa, I don't know if you have any real opinions on her. The chat room seems to think that she's not going to last long. So, look, I'm just saying, look at the other women in the house, okay? Besides Marissa, I feel like everyone is really high maintenance, okay? So comparatively to her, if she is not high maintenance and she's not really a threat to anybody, I don't see them getting rid of her. But, y'all can disagree.
Well, another interesting note here is that the cast is very old in terms of Big Brother casts.
Right.
She is only one of two people in their 20s on this cast. So she is, I think she's in fact the youngest person on the cast. So I think that if in terms of like respect, she's probably going to have a little bit of trouble finding some. And we don't know how the end game is going to work, if there's going to be a jury or what happens there. But right. I think we usually find that a person who is out of the normal range of ages for the cast is going to have trouble finding jury votes in the end because people just don't respect them as much. And so I think being so young in this cast is going to be a hindrance. But I do think it will contribute toward the idea that maybe she's not a threat. Maybe she's somebody that can be dragged along for a little while and come in second to somebody.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to point out really quickly that there are multiple people in this cast who are older than me. That is saying something.
I like it. I'm glad that the cast age skewed older. I feel like I always like it when the cast age skews older. And recently it's just been getting younger and younger. And it's just not, I don't know, not as good.
Right. To be fair, though, I mean, the reason that they cast a bunch of, relatively older people is because no one's going to find
a lot of young, washed-up celebs.
Right.
No
exactly. You're not going to find somebody who's got it going on is going to want to be on Celebrity Big Brother. Honestly, this is the worst show for you to be on if you got something going on because it's 24 hours a day, live feeds. Invariably, you're going to say something stupid or do something stupid, and everyone's going to see it, and it's going to ruin your career. So, these are the people we got for a reason.
Yes. And speaking of the jury, I know some people in the chat were a little bit confused. As far as I know, there's not going to be a jury house. I think it's been confirmed that they will be going home when they get voted out. However, we don't know how the final vote is going to work. That doesn't necessarily back in the olden days of Big Brother, people went home and then they still voted. So that could certainly be a possibility. Of course, there's probably some sort of America vote in as well. So we're just going to have to wait and see.
I would be absolutely stunned if America did not choose the winner. I think it's honestly going to be very BBOTT style, where America has a vote along the way. The House votes. There's an HOH. There's a veto, just like always. But America gets a vote, and I think America votes for the winner at the end. That's my prediction.
We'll just have to see. Next up on the list is Brandi Lynn Glanville, a 45-year-old reality TV personality. I believe she was on the Real Housewives show, and that is where she comes from. Something that I picked up, a couple of the ET interviews have been released, and she mentioned that she was just contacted a couple days ago, and she was a last-minute replacement for somebody. So that was interesting. But Melissa, did you have any thoughts on Brandi?
Well, I know her from Celebrity Apprentice. Fairly recently, and of course, I watched all of the Celebrity Apprentices and the original Apprentices, but whatever. So I know her from that, but then also she was on, I think she was just on Celebrity Big Brother in the UK.
Right, yes, that's true.
Yes, she was.
She has like Big Brother experience. I mean, it's different, but she has the experience of being watched 24/7. I don't know what her personality was like though on Celebrity or CBB UK. I don't know what all these acronyms are anymore. But I don't know what her personality was like on that. I heard that she was more subdued than she is on Real Housewives. I asked my mom about her because my mom watches Real Housewives, and she was like, oh, she's so noisy and she takes her clothes off. And I don't know what that means in this context. But, that's what she's like apparently. But, on Apprentice, she's kind of blended into the background. I don't really remember her very much. So take that all as you will.
Well, I will say that she got top 4 on Celebrity Apprentice, so that is saying something. She was 11th place on Celebrity Big Brother UK, so she was the 4th one out there. So not a great showing there. So, but as Melissa knows, she does have some experience living in the house. I think she was subdued on BB UK. Mainly because the public votes on literally everything there. So, if you're somebody who causes problems, you're probably going to be out really quick. I don't know exactly how her eviction ended up happening or why, but I know she finished in 11th place. As I noted, she was on Celebrity Apprentice and finished in 4th place, but she was also on that cast with somebody else who is in this cast, Keisha Knight Pulliam. So even though Keisha was eliminated first or fired by Mr. Trump in the first episode, she was on the cast with Brandi. And so there could be some natural alliances there. Just saying.
Yes, interesting stuff.
There's some, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but there's some interesting.
I do it all the time.
I'm taking after Brent, but there's some interesting like past relationships on this cast. Like, I don't know if we should wait till the end to get into it or whatever, but like there's the Scary Movie alliance potential. There's the Apprentice potential alliance, Dancing with the Stars. It's kind of weird how there's so many people who have like these weird connections.
I guess that's just how Hollywood works.
Hollywood for you.
Yeah. But the sense I got from her in the ET Canada, or ET, I'm used to saying ET Canada, wow. In the ET interview was that she very much was used to the Big Brother UK format. And I think that's what she's expecting. For the most part, she knows that there's backstabbing and gameplay and physical challenges. She's worried about the physical challenges, but she talked about like, oh, in the Big Brother house, all you have to argue about is your food rations. Like, ooh, that's a bit of a misread on BBUS. So I really got the sense another person who couldn't name a favorite player, didn't say she had a strategy, said she's going to be herself and see what happens. I think she's going to be in a little bit over her head in terms of knowledge of the game, because we do have a fair amount of people that do know the game pretty well. But having been on so many other reality shows, she's probably somebody that's more likely to pick it up as she goes than some of the other people.
I think she's going to be a handful. I think she is going to cause problems, especially given the other people that are in the house. By the way, Steph in the chat room let us know that she was up against a showmance in Celebrity Big Brother UK, and US players typically have problems getting votes over there. So that's the reason why she was ultimately nominated and evicted. So I don't think it was necessarily anything to do with her personally. Like, she didn't cause a fight or, get anybody mad at her to cause her own eviction. I think it was just that they liked other people better. So that's what happened with that. And also, I stand by my prediction. I think she will be first or second out. I do not see her lasting in this game at all.
Okay, so I saw a couple of interesting things in her bio. One was that one of the questions was, what moment in your career prepared you to be on Big Brother? And she said the moment in her career that prepared her for Big Brother was that she was born feet first, with the cord wrapped around her neck 3 times, and she refused to cry. And I wondered what part of her career that was, but it seemed very strange to me. Melissa, did you see that?
It has a lot of relevance to Big Brother, because they're just very related. I mean, you're going to have to deal with getting the cord wrapped around your neck and crying. And I mean, that's that. No, but for real, I really have no idea.
Yes.
How that helps her, or, how that has any relevance to the situation. But
it happens, I guess.
You would think it'd be like, oh, I have the experience of, first of all, being on a Big Brother series. And also, I have the experience being on reality shows, or maybe I have the experience arguing with a bunch of women for extended periods of time. But, that works as well.
Andrew Ross Buell in the chat says she's bred for this.
Okay.
Another thing she mentioned as a fun fact that she has 2 books on the New York Times bestseller list, and I thought that's not a fun fact. That's not a fun fact at all.
That's a humble brag.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not a fun fact at all.
I think we're gonna get a lot of that this season.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. So yeah. I'm not living for Brandy. I'm hoping she can win me over though.
All right, so let's move on to the next person, Chuck Liddell, the 48-year-old UFC fighter. He says he's very competitive. He mentions that many times throughout his bio, and I guess from a UFC fighter, that's what's expected. And this is probably going to cause confusion, UFC, LFC, throughout the entire season. So let's start as soon as possible. Melissa, what did you think of Chuck?
I feel like I need to sit this one out because I know nothing about him. He reminds me of Dylan from Big Brother Canada. That's kind of what I've got. He said that he liked the way Paul played on season 19. So, I mean, at least he's watched a season of Big Brother. So I guess that's a good sign. And I like the fact that he said that he liked that Paul explained his game throughout the game, like why he was making the moves he was making. So that gives me hope that maybe he's going to do that, and he's going to explain why he's making certain moves or why he's, befriending certain people, because I always like to watch that. So yeah, hopefully he does that.
Well, he says he's not a schemer, so that's all, that's already a black mark against him from my perspective. He does seem relatively fun. He has a lot of fun facts about himself, which I'm not going to get into, but they were interesting. He was the light heavyweight champion of the world in Ultimate Fighter, and that's the thing that he is the most proud of. This is a guy who actually has some pretty conservative principles in politics, so that might cause problems in the House if the subject of the current president of the United States comes up, which I'm sure it's probably gonna, considering other people in the House. But if he can keep a lid on that, I think that he'll go pretty far.
Yes, and I want to apologize. It's apparently Chuck Liddell.
I was going to tell you.
Yes.
Yeah, you sound like a damn idiot when you say it wrong.
Look, I got the really hard name right, apparently, and then I get the easier one wrong. What can you do? People are really on top of me, but they were like, "Get it right, Jaret. God,
right?
What do you want from me?"
I'm glad you're the one who's saying it, and not.
As Brent mentioned, he said he's very straightforward. He's a very see what you get kind of person. So he's gonna have a hard time with deception. However, I think the natural competitiveness that he has will work against that, will help him overcome that, because I think that really the main thing you need in Big Brother, at least to be an entertaining character, is you need to be competitive. You need to have a drive to win. So as long as he has that, maybe he will be just a blunt instrument, and that'll be fun to watch. He seems a little bit crazy to me. He says he's a big goofball. He talked about, he said, okay, this is a story that he told in his bio. Just after I became world champion, I jumped off a balcony at Amnesia in Ibiza and landed on my feet like Spider-Man. I was completely nuts. Because of everyone's reaction and how cool it looked, one of the crew attempted the same jump and ended up shattering both knees and being stuck in Ibiza for 3 months. Fun story.
Fun.
Yeah. this seemed a little bit crazy to me.
He's a bro. Let's be real. He's a bro.
Yeah.
He's always been a bro his entire life. Okay, and I mean, this is just what they do when you drink and you do shit. So that's why he did what he did. And but he is what 49. I think he's is he the oldest person in the cast? 48. Sorry. He's not the oldest person in the cast. But he is. I mean, he's in relatively good shape. I have heard that he does not move as well as he used to. But you don't got to be 21 years old and a bodybuilder to compete on the Big Brother challenges. So I feel like he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think he'll do well in the physical challenges for sure. He feels to me like very much like a Dylan, where it's just like pick him up as an ally, a very loyal ally, and he will just do his best in all the competitions and fight for you, and probably be in it for a while, unless people really just see him as a huge threat or he goes completely off the wall. He talks about being crazy a few times, but maybe that's in his past. Maybe he's a little more calm now. In his little video that CBS released, he seemed to talk really slow in chunks. Like he seems like a very measured person. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. He's also a singer.
I think that's just his brain cells catching up with him from all the times he got knocked around in the UFC, Taryn. So that's what I think's going on there. I know, right? What did I want to say about him? I'm thinking if you're saying that he is the Dylan, then he's gonna need a Karen. So I'm looking at the rest of the cast to see who could fill those shoes, and I have an eye on somebody. I'll say when we get to it.
All right, let's move on to James Maslow. He's 27, an actor, musician. He says he is woke. So congrats.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes. Brent, what do you think of James?
I mean, I don't know what to think. This is the one person in the cast who I didn't really know a lot about. And I am a big fan of Dancing with the Stars, but I don't really remember him much from Dancing with the Stars, even though he did relatively well. I watched that video that you're talking about where he's like, talking about Team Maslow. He has
follow the socials.
I know, right? Follow the socials, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter. I got Team Maslow working on it. Buy my merch. I'm like, I felt bad for him. I'm like, so you used to be really famous. By the way, I just want to say this really quickly. Like Taryn, he has a YouTube channel which he's basically working on. Okay, that's become his thing ever since he became not so famous. And his average video that he releases, Taryn, gets less than me playing a slot machine.
I knew exactly where that was going.
I'm just saying that that's a little bit of a humble brag on my part, but also a little bit of a slam against James, because like people would rather watch me playing a slot machine than rather to watch your dumb ass. So there you go.
I like this guy. To me, it just screams Nick Uhas. Like I got so like Nick Uhas vibes all over the place from this guy. Just like he is well spoken, but just like in a weird way, in a way that's like very like kind of crazy. He says he loves working out, surfing, playing music, and working on his 72 Bronco. So he's very much a chill bro dude, or so he likes to exude. Melissa, what did you think of James?
Well, I liked that he said that he liked the guy from Chilltown, Will. So it shows that he at least knows something about the show. I don't know if that means he like watched clips on YouTube and was like, this guy's funny, or if he actually like watches the show and is a fan. But the fact that he likes Will, I mean, I always get won over by people when they say they like Will, because I want people to go in there and play like Will. So, that I liked that about him. He's from Big Time Rush. I have not ever seen that, but I did audition for an episode of Big Time Rush once. So like, we're like BFF. No, but for real though, I don't know that much about him. I didn't watch his intro video that you guys were talking about. But that sounds really annoying. To really be promoting all this stuff.
Really, yeah.
I hate when people do that. And so I'm just already preparing myself for that giant long list of shout outs that people do during the live show. And it's just going to be never ending this season, I think.
Hi to my agent. Okay.
Yeah. My agent, my manager, all my fans out there.
Yeah, so he was the other person that I was able to see an ET interview with, and he said that he has a lot of friends who are super fans, so they have filled him in on the show. He's watched it before, but not every season, not every episode, meaning he's probably caught it once or twice. And so
At least his friends have told him.
His friends have told him, and that's why I imagine in his bio it says that dude from Chilltown will. ... Yeah.
Will.
Well, I mean, just the fact that he didn't pick, because it's obvious to me that they gave all of these people Big Brother 19 to watch. Okay, that's evident to me. So given that he can name somebody else who is not on Big Brother 19, I felt relatively positive about, look, I think if he can get past his douchiness, and there is some, I think he can do pretty good. He is a really good looking guy, probably the best looking guy in the cast, actually. And, sometimes you want to keep people around for that, because there's a lot of good looking women in the cast too. So you never know. He also plays Cards Against Humanity. Taryn, isn't that like Secret H?
A little bit. I mean, one of the creators of that game ended up creating that game. So it's close enough.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm cautiously optimistic about him. Like the gut part of me does not like him. The brain part of me, who's reading his bio and sort of like just, objectively looking at him, thinks, I think he could actually do pretty well. So I'm a little fencerton about it, but I'm going to lean towards my gut. So I'm gonna probably like early jury, if they have a jury.
Yes. One of the things that he says in his bio, his strategy is that he wants to team up with the strongest player, which came right after he said he liked Will. It reminded me of Will's strategy. Will often likes to jump on the back of the strongest player and ride them to the end. So if he tries that strategy, it could certainly be effective for him if he has any idea what he's doing. Another important thing to talk about with him, I think, something that he mentioned in the ET interview, was that he says he has a very crude sense of humor, very inappropriate sense of humor. He thinks our culture is a bit sensitive, and he's worried about how people may perceive some of the jokes that he tells in the house. And I'm just like, oh, you poor thing, you are going to be obliterated in this whole community.
Yeah, not a place you want to go if you have a crude sense of humor, I have to tell you.
Yeah, the fact that he is already talking about it means he is in deep trouble, I believe, unless he is able to keep his mouth shut. But it sounds like he's not confident in that ability. So we're just gonna have to see what James does. Moving on to Keisha Knight Pulliam. Keisha Knight Pulliam. Yes.
I'm the new host. Hi, my name is Brent Waldemar, and I'll be introducing the people from now on. Go ahead.
Look, that was a hard one. All right. That was
oh my gosh, she is
What's
like
with the eye.
She's an American treasure, Taryn Armstrong. I mean, this is Rudy from The Cosby Show. I know it's a little bit before your time, but she I mean, like, she is it, and she looks hot. So I'm all about Keisha Knight Pulliam.
There you go. 38 years old, an actress, and she says that being an actor, she feels she can identify authenticity. That's going to help her in the game. Probably not, but she had to come up with something, right, Melissa?
Yeah. I don't like that she didn't have a favorite Big Brother player. It's just is like, oh my God, like pick somebody. That means you literally couldn't think of a single person. And I also don't like her plugging her Keisha's Kitchen Spices.
I want to pick my Keisha Kitchen Spices because they're awesome.
Yeah, it's like she could have just said like my kitchen spice line that I've created, but she had to like plug the actual name, so we'd be like, oh, well, let me look that up. But yeah, no, God, that is going to be so annoying on the show to have people plugging stuff every 5 seconds. But yeah, so I mean, I guess she was on Celebrity Apprentice, right? But I don't remember her.
She was on Celebrity Apprentice with Brandi Glanville. Wow, I'm tongue twisted tonight. Brandi Glanville. She was first out. Keisha was on Celebrity Apprentice. She was also on Celebrity Mole season 2, otherwise known as.
I loved Celebrity Mole.
I did
regular
too.
Mole, but yeah, Celebrity, I'll take what I can get.
I actually liked the Celebrity version better, but that's neither here nor there. She finished 5th. And she actually would have advanced, but she was slowest on the quiz. She didn't do terrible. So she,
I love the Mole.
Yeah,
they should bring that back. That was fun.
Look, I'm reaching here, Taryn. I don't feel great about the fact that she doesn't know one Big Brother house.
No, just
guest.
one.
Like you couldn't even name like Rachel or anybody who's famous, whatever. Yeah.
Her bio was the worst one to me.
It really was.
There was very little information there. She said no favorite player. She wants to be observant and win challenges, and there was really nothing else there. Interesting to note that there's a connection to Cosby. There's a connection to Trump. I think this is going to be a controversial season. Yeah. So unless you guys have anything else about Keisha, we'll move on to Marissa Jaret Winokur, 44-year-old actress.
No, Taryn, I'm sorry. That is Tony Award winning Marissa Jaret Winokur. Just want to be
exactly.
Be real.
Okay. Well, did it say that in the bio? Because I went off the bio.
She originated the role of Tracy in Hairspray.
Oh, yes, she did mention that in the bio, actually.
In her Broadway debut and won a damn Tony for it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and she was in Scary Movie, and so was Shannon Elizabeth, and she was the woman or the girl who got killed in the garage and for being stuck in a cat door or a dog door or whatever.
And did you know that she... Oh, go ahead. Well, I heard the and. No, go ahead. You got.
We have a lot of ants here.
Yes, we do. The same pair, Marissa and Shannon, were both on Dancing with the Stars together, and both did actually really, really well. I actually loved Shannon Elizabeth on Dancing with the Stars. But Marissa took fourth place on with Tony Dovolani. Love him on Dancing with the Stars, and there could be a natural alliance happening there as well. I really feel. I
hope they call it the Scary Movie Alliance.
Yeah,
but they probably can't because of copyright trademark. But anyway, she also was in Curb Your Enthusiasm as the girl who competed with Larry David to get a doctor's appointment. Remember, it was like the signature. You had to sign up on a sign sheet. He like wouldn't let her in the elevator or something, and they were like running.
See, Melissa knows the things I'll understand. Thank you, Melissa.
And
great scene.
Did you see this? That I am so about this chick because she says that she's obsessed with the podcast, My Favorite Murder. Two things. Number one, she listens to podcasts, always a great thing. Two, she's listening to My Favorite Murder, which yours truly was a part of the 100th episode of My Favorite Murder. I know, right? Crazy connection.
So many connections.
She probably knows who I am. I'm just saying. Okay.
So yeah, apparently Marissa is our winner pick. So she says she's dealt with a lot of big personalities. She lists Rachel, Jordan, and Jessica as her trifecta of favorite players. I imagine that she means the most recent Jessica and not Big Brother 8 Jessica.
She says she's a BB super fan.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like it.
She means Jessica Graff. Come on.
Look, I was calling back to older seasons. That's what I'm here for.
All right.
See, she says she wants to be social and team up with athletic people that will win challenges. That's a good strategy overall. I mean, I think that she said, as Melissa mentioned, she says she's a super fan. So it seems as though she's in a pretty decent spot here. I don't see people automatically thinking of her as a big threat or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think people would suspect that she's a big fan of the show, unlike some of the other people. So I think she's in a pretty good spot here.
I was actually looking, somebody in the chat said that she was on the first season of The Talk. So I was trying to find, yes, she was. She served as co-host on the daily daytime talk show The Talk, but she did not return in 2011, instead focusing on her clothing line and a new cable TV show. So she was there with Julie Chen. Hello.
Oh God, are we gonna have to hear about her clothing line?
Well, at least it's at least it feels personal to her.
All right, moving on to Mark Mcgrath, the 49-year-old musician. I watched a YouTube video of him going off on a fan in the street.
Here we go.
He's much older now, so maybe he's matured.
Go here. Sorry, I was gonna say something, but you sounded like you were gonna keep going.
No, I was just gonna ask you because I imagine you know a lot more about him than I do.
Well, I mean, I'm like a huge fan. I mean, he was like a really hot guy. I mean, ixnay on that. He is a hot guy, even at he's like 49 years old now. Mm-hmm. Yes, he's the one who's
the oldest on the cast.
Okay, so he still looks smoking good. And by the way, that video, if you have not seen it, is hilarious. But as Tara notes, he was a much younger guy, and it was a different time. If you called somebody gay in 2018, I don't think you're going to get the same reaction that you would have got in 2000. So the world was a different place then, and so was Mark Mcgrath. So I'll just say that. But it is hilarious because if people don't know what I'm talking about, there's a video where he's on the street and he's signing autographs for a few people, and this punk kid goes up to him. The kid's 15 or 16 years old, goes up to him and calls him Sugar Gay. First of all, he's not even Sugar Ray. That's the band. But the kid calls him Sugar Gay. And Mark, if he could have hit him, he would have. He wanted to take a swing at him so bad, and he somehow held back. So if that kind of temper rears itself in the house, I think he's going to have problems. However, and I can't remember if you guys brought this up already, but he named some really, really cool people. It's obvious he watched Big Brother 19 because he brings up Cody and Jessica, but he brings up Boogie and Evil Dick and Paul and Kevin, obviously from Big Brother 19. So, I feel relatively positive if he can keep his anger under control. Again, there's a lot of these people where I feel positive about them, but there's a big if. It's like with Maslow, if he can keep his douchiness under control. With this guy, Mcgrath, if he can keep his temper under control, then I feel relatively positive about him because he seems to at least know the game.
Yes, Bobby Desmond in the chat says, "I'm going to choke your face" is a direct quote from that video. So maybe
I've said worse things in my life.
Yes, he looks a little bit like Ethan Hawke to me, or at least the younger version did, which was,
I can see it.
Yes, he says he has tinnitus, and so he's gonna have trouble sleeping without his earbuds. That could actually be a serious hindrance if he legitimately has trouble sleeping. Sleep deprivation can really, really affect you in Big Brother. It's already difficult to sleep, and if he has actually serious tinnitus, that could be tinnitus. I guess for those that don't know, it's like a constant ringing in your ears. I imagine he got this because he's a musician and he had loud music pumping into his ears all the time, and it damaged his ears. It's a terrible, terrible thing to have happen to you. So it'll be interesting to see how he copes with that. Melissa, what did you think of Mark?
Just real quickly, I'm sorry, I don't know why he can't use his earbuds to sleep. Do they not allow that in the Big Brother house? I've seen other people use masks and stuff, and so I would have to assume that they allow earbuds. Maybe
he's just assuming he won't be able to have them.
All right,
and he actually will.
Yeah, it's also possible that it's like earplugs are allowed, but like headphone earbuds.
Right,
maybe
right. Yeah.
But I mean, they're not going to have the devices to use anyway, so I wouldn't think it would be a problem. But
he might have noise canceling. I don't know if that helps. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. But I think it's exciting that he's going to be in the house. I, was a Sugar Ray fan. So, and I feel like he's the type to do a lot of different reality shows. So I feel like I was kind of expecting him to be on it, kind of. But yeah, I don't know that much about him personally. So I don't know what his personality would be like. I really just know the songs, those classic tunes. Mm-hmm. So
if there's any listener like me that is like, I know of Sugar Ray, but has no idea what music they played, do either of you have one of their more popular songs?
Yeah, duh. Every morning there's a halo hanging down the corner. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a great song. I still listen to it these days. It's
the hilarious part is I don't remember the songs. I remember the name of the album, 1459, which alludes to the 15 Minutes of Fame, which ironically he's just out of because he's on Celebrity Big Brother.
There you go. Yes, I'm here to be the person that gets made fun of for not knowing everything. For all you, those of you out there that are in my situation, and now you know, right? Because everyone recognizes that song. Certainly, if I did, then everybody has to.
And let me just tell you all, Taryn knows squat when it comes to this cast. People like me and Melissa, follow us, okay? Because Taryn can tweet about the strategy and whatnot. But
that's why I did the most amount of research on the panel tonight. All right.
All right. Who was that? What did you say? How did you pronounce Keisha not Pullium? What did you say?
Kashia?
There's an I in that name.
Did you say Kasha?
I think you said Kashia. Kashia?
Not my fault. Yes, Brent, as you mentioned, he said he likes the legends of the game, Boogie, Evil Dick, and then he mentions like 4 different people from Big Brother 19. Like he was really casting a wide net, like Cody, Jess, Paul, and Kevin, all the most popular people. I'm a fan of all of them, guys. Something that was interesting that he said it's a short season, so playing low key isn't going to cut it. I'm coming in hot. He's going to really go for it right away, which is interesting to me because at the very least it implies that he has thought about strategy of normal game versus this particular game, which is going to be a lot shorter. We don't know a whole lot about what kind of strategy is going to work for such a short season, so it'll be interesting to see how it works out for him to go in hot, so to speak.
This is the guy out of everybody who I'm most interested to see how Rob Cesternino did in his interview with Mark Mcgrath, because I feel relatively positive about him based on his bio. I mean, look, the fact of the matter is nothing can prepare you for the game of Big Brother except being familiar with the game of Big Brother. That's the number one thing that can help you, is being familiar with the format of how you should act, how you should talk to people, what not to say, what to say, how to hang back when you have to. And he seems to have that. So he's already got a leg up on many people in this cast. If Rob feels relatively positive about him from his interactions with him at their interview, then he'll go to probably the top 4 of my list.
It's interesting. And something else too is that, like, even the people with the knowledge, they may come in expecting to play a game that is normally 100 days long, which may not translate very well to a game that's less than 3 weeks long. So the advantage of knowing the game might not be quite as distinct as it normally is, but we'll just have to see how that plays out. Moving on to our next person here is Metta World Peace, also known as Ron Artest, if that's pronounced correctly.
Yes.
38-year-old pro basketball player. The thing I know about him is that I watched another YouTube video about more fighting, only this was a lot more intense for the fighting. He played pro basketball, and he ran up into the stands after being hit in the face with a cup, and he punched a fan, and it turned out to not be the fan that had thrown the cup. And then it started this huge brawl and riot in the stands, and they had to cancel the game, and he got suspended for the longest amount of time in basketball history. So he comes with a lot of baggage here.
Yeah.
The Malice at the Palace.
Malice at the Palace.
Oh my God, Taryn. I was watching this when it happened. It was so freaking great. I mean, look, I don't agree that he should have gone into the stands and hit the guy, especially the guy who was not even the guy who threw the thing at him in the first place. However, you see these fans who are just completely and utterly awful to people all the time in sports. And I know that comes with the territory of making millions of dollars for essentially a game. However, that there are people out there who are like, you know what? Just one time I wanted to go in the stands and just beat that guy's ass. And this guy, he freaking did it. He went and said, you know what? I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to beat the shit out of this guy. And you know what? Come what may. I don't care. Now, he ended up getting suspended for a lot longer than what I thought he would be. But I think looking back, he probably thinks, you know what? I think it's unfortunate that happened. There was actually a patron in our group whose name is eluding me. I apologize for that. But he knows of Ron Artest. I think he worked for a sports station out west in Metta World Peace, as he's known now. And he said that he's actually a really chill guy now. It's terrible that is what he's known for, the Malice at the Palace, because he is a chill guy who can get along with anybody and is not going to cause any problems. So I'm hopeful that we'll see the guy that our patron is talking about, not the guy from the Detroit game.
Yeah, supposedly, according to sports fans, this is a big get to have him in the game. So,
okay.
I don't know much about him. I don't really follow sports, but I've been told that he's a notorious hothead, and that this is a big deal to have him here. And people who I've told that he's in Celebrity Big Brother are like, whoa, wow, how'd you get that? How'd that happen? So apparently it's a big deal. I don't know much about it, so I'm kind of going in blind, but I've heard some stuff.
Okay. He seems to be one of the more talked about contestants on Twitter, at least, that I've seen. I read on Twitter that I read on Reddit that he also elbowed some dude in the face at one point and got suspended for that. But more recently, he has been rewarded for charitable efforts. He apparently renamed himself Metta World Peace. Brent, do you know anything about that?
I have no freaking clue. I'd have to look it up. Why he changed his name to Metta World. Well, Karen, why does anybody change their name to Metta World Peace, girl? Come on.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see what this guy does. The little clip that CBS released on their Twitter page, he seemed very uncomfortable in front of the camera. So I wasn't able to get a read on him there. We'll have to see how Rob got along. But this is awesome, right? Like Rob is interacting with he spent all day today interacting with all of these people, and we're gonna watch those interactions.
It was Josh Lamer from the Patreon group, who's actually in the chat room right now, who posted that thing about Metta World Peace run our test. So thank you for that, Josh. I appreciate that. And I feel like he's going to be very, very fun. So I'm here for it.
I like how he wants to bring a toothbrush and toothpaste. So that works out
Survivor
well because he gets to have a toothbrush and toothpaste, and if that's all he needs in addition to workout gear, he's going to have that too. So he's really got everything he needs.
Right. Ryan Moyer in the chat asks, do we call him Metta? I guess so.
Yeah. Metta. What's up, Metta? Yeah.
It's like Netta, but Metta.
Yeah,
it's a Metta.
It's the same person.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
He was one of the people that couldn't pick a favorite player. He said the career moment that would help him in Big Brother was Kobe passing him the ball in a basketball game. So I mean that would prepare me for Big Brother. And yeah, that's about all I've got on Metta World Peace.
Yeah. He says something about Phil Jackson's coaching style would help him. I'm not really buying that. He's gonna have to be a guy very much like Dennis Rodman on Celebrity Mole Yucatan, where he didn't know squat about the game going into it, but his natural personality he just adapted to it and figured. I mean, just FYI, Dennis found a way to win Celebrity Mole. So, spoiler alert. But if Metta can, use his natural charming abilities because he has some, and blend in, there's going to be a lot of beautiful women there. Hopefully, that'll help him out too. Chill, have a good time. No one will come at you.
There you go. Next up on the list is Omarosa, the 43-year-old TV personality.
I like how that's what they used as her description. TV personality.
I mean, what else would you say? I mean, I guess she. Okay.
Well, most recently in politics.
Right. My understanding of Omarosa is that she first appeared on the regular version of The Apprentice, and then reappeared on a few different versions of the Celebrity Apprentice. She was the big villain, one of the original reality TV villains, and then recently she was working with Donald Trump in the White House, and even more recently had a contentious falling out and separation from that position.
So is reported. She's not saying that though.
I know very little about this. So people are speculating that, who knows what kind of stuff she'll be talking about on the feeds. She was, this is a very weird situation where she's not only a famous reality person, but also somebody that was involved in the White House very recently. So I have no idea what we're going to get from her on the live feeds.
Let me say a couple things about her. I think that a lot of people are picking her to be the first one out. By the way, I always say Omarosa. I always thought it was Omarosa, not Omarosa.
I thought so too. It was like on the first Apprentice, like that's where we met, we're introduced to her, and I swear, like that's how I knew her name was Omarosa.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Omarosa. Well, I'm sure Rob
don't take my pronciation as.
No, but I have heard Omarosa lately. I've heard Omarosa lately.
I'm with Melissa that I have heard Omarosa on CNN and whatnot lately. So I believe it's Omarosa. Anyway, we'll find out from her. We'll take it from the horse's mouth. She was, just FYI, a Democrat up until 2015, and then she switched to the Republican Party to back Mr. Trump. So that's basically how things went for her. I think that a lot of people have a problem with her because of her politics. I think she's actually a lot more malleable than people might suspect. She is able to name a few Big Brother players, actually. I'm trying to figure out who they were. Here we go. Obviously she named Jeff and Jordan. The one that stuck out to me was Howard from season 15. I don't know anybody that's ever said Howard from season 15 as one of her favorites. And obviously she names Evil Dick as well. So I feel like that she's in it to win it. And I don't think she's necessarily going to go far, but I think she's going to try. And I have to believe that CBS is going to want to keep her there somehow. So I'm betting that the first veto is like, trivia questions about Celebrity Apprentice or something. So we'll see. We'll see.
She was like the highlight of the 30-second video that that CBS put out on Twitter, like that named the cast one by one, and then the final person was like, "And you won't believe it, it's Omarosa."
Oh God!
So Melissa, what do you think of Omarosa?
Yeah, I was not a fan of hers on The Apprentice. She came back for Celebrity Apprentice. She's one of those people that at least in the reality, like before all this political stuff, I'm going to leave that out. But for the Celebrity Apprentice stuff, I hated her on the initial Apprentice. And then Celebrity Apprentice, she came back and I was like, oh, I'm interested to see her again. Let's see how this goes. And at first I kind of liked her. And then by the end, I didn't like her again. So I have a feeling that in the beginning, I mean, because I left Celebrity Apprentice hating her. And then this whole political thing, I was not a fan. And then she had an interview after she got either fired or left, whatever it is. And she was super polite and nice and fine. And I was like, oh, I don't know why I hated her so much. And I just know that I have a feeling that she's going to be fine at first and I'm going to forget that I hated her and then I'm going to hate her again. So yeah, that's what
it's like George W. Bush. Did you see that Saturday Night Live skit?
Yeah.
Where George W. Bush was like, you know what? I'm hearing that everybody likes me now, but let me remind you, I was really, really bad.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where the further you are away in distance from watching something, you're like, they're not that bad. And then you watch them again, you're like, oh, yep.
She falls into the category of the people that I love to hate. I want to see her stay because I love to root against her so much. You have to have a foil in the house.
Yeah.
So if she goes quickly, fine. There better be another foil because I like having people to root against, and she really embraces that role. I mean, she's
so good at it.
Role. Yes, and she's great at it.
Yeah.
So
she finds ways to make you so frustrated with her and so mad at her. And but she's just always so I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I was just doing this. I've never really seen her, unless I'm remembering incorrectly, but I've never really seen her yell or get super angry or mean or anything like that. She always tries to be I didn't do anything wrong, but getting under your skin so much. So
I feel like a lot of the OG reality villain types, they're often sort of like a Jerry Manthe, where it's they're not really a villain, but but it sounds like Omarosa is not one of those. She is somebody that was actually a villain and continues to be a villain as she continues on in her reality TV career.
The issue with her is if she can escape the politics of Trump, if she can escape that and somehow convince these people that she's not hated by America or that she's a relatively nice person, I feel like she could survive. But the problem for her is going to be if somebody gets power that feels like they have an image to maintain, like Ross or Marissa. I feel like for them and their peers and their community, they would probably be aghast if they didn't put up Omarosa. So I feel like that's going to be her biggest issue initially. She's one of these people that if she can make it past the first week, I feel relatively good.
I think it will be interesting. The politics involved, Hollywood is in a very political time right now, both with Trump and the Me Too movement. So I think that the fact that there are people from sort of both sides, and the fact that these are celebrities with images to maintain, I do feel like there's a decent chance that this could be a very politically motivated strategy that we see throughout the season. Melissa, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think that if it comes down to an America vote for the winner, I do not see her winning. I don't see a lot of Democrats being like, let's put politics aside for a second and just vote for who we want to win this. It's just, I don't see that happening. So I don't see her winning.
I mean, my gut agrees with you, but I feel like there's a narrow path for her. I really do. I feel like there's a narrow path for her to somehow pull a win out of the hat. If she's like, maybe it's like a final three and she's against two people who are splitting the vote. You know, there are a lot of people who really do support the president and by extension do support her. And I feel like she could get a little bit of crossover appeal there. By the way, this is the Karen to Dylan and Chuck Liddell. Like, this is a Karen Singville is gonna like literally come through Twitter and strangle my neck. But she could be
not gonna like that.
She could be the Karen, which is a lot to live up to. I just want to say,
that James Maslow.
I know, right? I can just hear it right here. That'd be great.
She says,
punk.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's all I'm gonna say.
She says she's a fan of Big Brother. She, as we've talked about, one of many people that mentioned Evil Dick. I think Evil Dick knows a few of the people on this cast.
Yes.
So that'll be interesting. But yeah, that's almost she was newly married. She got married recently. So I don't know if that's gonna soften her image or make it hard. I don't know. But she talked about it. All right. Next up is Ross Matthews, the 38-year-old TV host, amongst other things, interviewer. He is a big fan of the show. He's been on Rob Has a Podcast, and he's also a judge on RuPaul's Drag Race, correct, Brent?
Yep.
Yes. So very interesting. He says Janelle is his favorite player. Melissa, what do you think of Ross?
I like him a lot. I knew who he was coming into this, and I remember him from Chelsea Lately. And I think he's really funny and entertaining, and I'm excited to watch what he can do. And I saw his video that he put out where he talked about how he was a fan of Big Brother and he can't believe that he gets to be on it and all this stuff. So exciting. I like that he's a fan, and I like that he's a fan of Janelle because I want people to play like Janelle. So that makes me excited. And I think maybe the one problem he might have is he's kind of a loud out there kind of person, and people might get annoyed with him but see, the thing also is I don't know how he's like in real life. I know that like it's possible that he puts on a persona for when he does like interviews or videos or whatever. And really he's more like subdued in real life. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll have to see, but I'm excited that he's on. When I saw that he was on it, I was excited.
Yeah, he has a podcast called I think Straight Talk with Ross. And he released a podcast about the fact that he was going on, where he talked to his various co-hosts about it, and they asked him questions and they gave him advice. And one of the people on the podcast said to him, don't be afraid to be yourself. Like, you don't have to be on all the time. Like be a little vulnerable and open up to people. So that told me that there is a side of Ross that is a bit more low key, a bit more vulnerable and personal, that he has the potential to show in the house if he so desires. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Brent, what did you think of Ross?
Yeah, I feel like whenever Ross is doing videos, he's very on Ross. So I enjoy him very much on RuPaul's Drag Race because I feel like he's a little bit more conversational on the judging panel of RuPaul's Drag Race, where he's not trying to put on airs about anything. He's just literally giving them the tea about what's wrong with their outfit or what they did wrong in the challenge. Obviously, like you said, already did a podcast like a year ago with our very own Rob Sesternino. He's a big fan. I don't know how you can pick against this guy. I mean, he's my pick to win. I think him and Shannon Elizabeth and Marissa Jaret Winokur, if they could just make a trio alliance, I'd be set. That would be great. They would literally run the house from top to bottom. The thing that really jumped out at me in his bio was the fact that he calls himself 60% Dorothy and 40% Rose, which if you're a fan of the Golden Girls, you know what that means. That he's a little bit of an airhead, but he also likes to give some cutting words to people if he wants to. The other thing that was not as impressive, because I feel like every gay guy can do this, is name all 21 of Meryl Streep's Oscar nominations. Because I don't know how many gays I have seen do that. And by like the third time, it's not as impressive, you know?
I somehow knew you'd bring inside knowledge to those fun facts. So yes, another thing you mentioned in the podcast that was brought up in the chat is that he was in the the audience for the Big Brother 1 finale. So he really is a long-time hardcore fan. And it'll be interesting to see him play. He says he wants to run the show behind the scenes. I think he definitely has a lot of the tools to do well in the game. I think his biggest challenge will be how threatening does he come across? How known is it that he is a big fan of the show? Is he going to talk about it a lot? Because if people see him as like, oh, you know everything about the show and you get along with everyone and you're really likable, he could be seen as one of the bigger threats in the house, depending on how this cast operates. So I'm a little worried for him in that sense, but he says always be ready to pivot, which is a good motto for Big Brother. Right?
Yeah,
Melissa?
He says he wants to run, like you said, run the show from behind the scenes, be a BFF to everybody, and let them underestimate me. So basically, he wants to be Andy. That's what he wants to do. He wants to be Andy, which is not a bad person to try to emulate. So I'm on board.
Yeah.
All right. So finally, the last person on the list, Shannon Elizabeth, 44-year-old actress. She says she is best known for her role in American Pie. She also knows Evil Dick, has been on the Evil Dick podcast, Dick at Night, where she called out Zach Rance. If you haven't seen that, I recommend checking it out. And this is very interesting to me. She's another big fan of the show. She says she likes Dr. Will, Evil Dick, Dan Giesling, and Janelle. It's hard to find a better pick of four there, and given who she is friends with and everything like that. She used to play professional poker, so maybe even a little bit of like a Vanessa Rousseau in there. I'm very
She
excited.
wishes.
Look. No, obviously nowhere near the success of Vanessa Rousseau, but in terms of like knowing the basics of game strategy and incentivizations, I'm excited to see Shannon play the game. Melissa, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see her play because I know she's a huge fan, and I love that she podcasts about the show, and she knows the show, and she knows the strategy behind the show, and she's talked with a ton of previous players of Big Brother, so she knows all about the strategy and all the aspects to it and what it's like to actually be in the game. So I'm really excited to see her play. And also I like the fact that, I mean, if she decides to keep it quiet, I could absolutely see people in the house not knowing that she's as big of a fan as she is. Because also the Dick at Night shows are paid to watch or subscription based. And so not a lot of people like who, if they were to just Google her name, they might not even see that come up. So I think that's really exciting. And I'm really excited to see her play. I mean, I know her from Scary Movie. And so boom, she's got a Scary Movie alliance with Marissa. And so, yeah, I'm just excited to see what she's going to do.
Yeah, she would be my co-winner pick if I could pick two, but I'm going to stick with Ross for now. She seems amazing. She's seen every season of Big Brother, so she says, some even twice, which I can tell you after having seen every season of Big Brother, God bless you. If you've seen a couple of these seasons, hello, Big Brother 19, more than once. I feel great about her. I feel like she has a good head on her shoulders to be able to do this. By the way, interconnection with Brent Waldemar. Taryn, do you remember a few years back when we were doing the podcast about Vanessa Rousseau, and I said that I knocked out Vanessa Rousseau in a horse game, but I originally thought she was Shannon Elizabeth. I actually talked to my friend Margie, and it was the other way around. I knocked out Shannon Elizabeth in the horse tournament at the World Series of Poker. So I was playing $1,500 horse tournament at the World Series of Poker like about 6 years ago, and she was at my table. Obviously in horse, it's a limit game, so you can get ground down. She basically was down to like 3 chips, but I was the person who took her out, girl bye. So I have that on my mantle, and I will not let her forget it if she ends up winning this game.
So you just accidentally were able to tell the same story in two different relevant situations.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But because I always mixed it up. And after I did that podcast, she came back to me because she listens to the podcast, and she said, no, bitch, she said that to me. Like, no, bitch, it was the other way around. Like, it was actually Shannon Elizabeth. You thought it was Vanessa Rousseau because I was big Vanessa Rousseau at the time. So that's what happened.
There you go. Something funny I noticed in her bio, they ask for your hometown, and in that section, she just basically tells her entire life story of like this is where I grew up, and then from third grade to high school I was here. Then I lived in LA for 20 years, and now my hometown is ... They literally cut her off because she put too much in the hometown section, and I assume they have some sort of cutoff there because they didn't expect more than 2 words. Well, I just thought that was very funny. She also said she wants to play a role in the house, and that's like her. She's an actress. She's gonna play a role in the house. I hope that some of that means is playing down her knowledge of the show, and playing this sort of person that, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what's going on. I think we often talk about how in the Big Brother house or even on Survivor, you can't really hide who you are for such a long time. But this is only a few weeks. And I feel like if you wanted to play a role, this is the kind of season where you might be able to pull that off. Melissa, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the fact that the show is only 2 weeks is going to be a total game changer. I think that we can't really know what to expect because I don't know how. I mean, I feel like usually in a regular season of Big Brother, the big personalities go out right away. But I could absolutely see the big personalities sticking along a lot longer because usually people can only stand like 2 weeks with a big personality, but that's really all you have anyway in this season. So it's not like that big of a deal to get them out first. So I'm excited to see how this changes the way people play and how this changes the game itself. And I think it's going to be totally different.
Yes, I have been informed in the chat that
this is not your night.
They didn't cut her off. She just led into the next question. I'm very disappointed. I found that very humorous, and now it's not nearly as humorous. So thank you, chat, for ruining that for me. Anyway, I'm excited to see Shannon. I feel like she's one of the more people with more potential on this cast. Overall, I don't think it's a bad cast. I think some people were complaining that they weren't famous enough, or things like that. Of
course they're not.
They seem
what did you expect?
They seem famous enough to me. I mean, I knew the names of a couple of these people, which means they're something. And I think the fact that there are so many fans on the cast is a really good sign to me. I like that. So I'm excited to see what they're capable of.
By the way, oh, go ahead. No.
I was just going to say, I'm still upset about Misha Barton and Lindsay Lohan because I would have been really excited to see them in the live.
You fell for that? Oh,
I didn't fall for it, but when they said that was a possibility, like someone just saying it like made me think in my head, okay, I need that. That's something I need.
Right.
So I'm disappointed, but I'm excited to see how it goes. And I like the fact that there are fans on the cast and people who know what the game is at all. And hopefully we don't just get a lot of promo stuff throughout the season of people just trying to plug their products and everything. So, we'll see how it goes. And if we don't like it, okay, it's only 2 weeks.
Right. They're moving. It's actually 3 weeks total because they're actually moving in this Wednesday, I believe is what we're told. But we're only going to get it for 2 weeks ourselves. The one thing that I think we're underselling about Shannon Elizabeth is her poker career. Is, of course, I was making fun of it. But she did play really well for an extended period of time. And that's a tough game. And she was somewhat profitable at it, at least for, however long she was playing it for. So I feel like that's another point in her column. I just feel like it's so tight between her and Ross that it's hard for me to pick a winner. I'm going with him just because I feel like he has a little bit more personality that he could win over America, but she's obviously a total darling. I remember her Dancing with the Stars, and she was eliminated too soon. I remember her waltz with Derek Huff, I want to say. They got a perfect 10 from Len, which is hard to do early on. And she can do anything. So I'm excited to see what she can do on Celebrity Big Brother.
Yes, James Maslow was another person that was on Dancing with the Stars, and this reminded me of one of the things he talked about in the ET interview, which was that, when he went on Dancing with the Stars, after he came off of it, he had so many, offers for host this show or do this thing regarding reality TV. And he was like, at the time, I was like, nah. But now I've sort of rethought things a few years later, and now I'm in a better headspace to take those kinds of offers after Big Brother. Basically, like things haven't been working out for him in the last few years, and now he's ready to degrade himself. He even said, like, people don't look down at those things anymore. Like Mark Wahlberg is hosting something; it's not harming his career, right? He's doing his actual things on the side. Like he really looks down at these shows, I think, in some ways.
I mean, they are trash. I mean, let's be real.
I'm sure.
Wow, speak for yourself.
There's also a really funny moment in that interview where the interviewer asks him, so you've seen that you get your own bed, and then he asks him about, like, you got an espresso and then like, oh, did you see the pictures of the house? And like, to me, it was very clear that he knew none of these things, but he pretended that he had. So he was like, yeah, espresso is really, that caffeine, it's really important. And then, like, did you see the pictures of the house? Yeah, looks great. And you know what? It's gonna be a really fun time in that. Like, it was just like, watch that part of the interview with the idea that he has no idea why or he hasn't seen what the interviewer is asking him. It's very funny, I promise. So,
you need to watch it.
Yes. So very, very excited to see Rob talk to these people tomorrow or late tonight, whenever those come up. I'm looking forward to this season. I think we've got an interesting game coming up ahead of us.
Yes, we need to have Rob Fish. Have we, like, Tara and I talked about this already, because we knew that this thing was coming with Rob interviewing the people, but we couldn't tell y'all. But we need to have Rob Fish so that when, the live feeds are down, we get Rob and not somebody else. So I'm hoping that happens.
Yeah, I asked him, so are we going to get Rob Fish? And he was like, would you want people to hate me?
True.
You got to lean into it, Rob. You have to laugh at yourself.
I was like, just have them give you a puppy from a shelter, and then you can talk to the puppy to introduce the new clips.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'd watch that for sure.
All right, so thank you everyone for joining us. As we mentioned at the top of the show, we will be back Thursday night to do the LFC draft, plus Rob Sesternino, who will be taking part in the draft, competing against me, trying to take my crown, my title. And we'll see if he's able to. He's not going to be able to, but we'll see if he can. So make sure you are on the lookout for that. We'll also be able to discuss in more depth the interviews that he did and all of the other interviews that will be coming out. So lots of good stuff there. And then, of course, once the season gets going next week, I believe it's going to be 4 times a week the episodes will be airing, and I will be doing daily live feed updates, assuming that there are enough live feeds to update. We have been informed that there will be a lot of blackouts. The game is going to be moving at a very accelerated pace. These are celebrities. They're going to probably need a little bit of extra privacy. So we'll see, what happens there. Yes, for those in the chat that aren't aware, I did win my crown. I've only lost that one time because of the weird Josh win. I won it back in Survivor. I am once again the champion of almost all of the drafts. But very excited about this season. We'll, of course, also have the LFC roundtables throughout the season, probably 3 of them total.
I know, right?
And then, of course, Big Brother Canada will be coming up. So that will be fun too.
Yes, and Marissa is already tweeting and Instagramming about Big Brother Canada 6, and she had I saw a Instagram post, or maybe it's a Twitter post of her today with the producer Aaron behind her. So I'm very, very pumped for Big Brother Canada 6, but we got to get through Celebrity Big Brother first.
Yes. All right. So that's all we've got for you. Make sure you check out The Taryn Show. Go to iTunes and find The Taryn Show. Subscribe to it. There's lots of awesome interviews there. I recently talked to Andy Herron, winner of Big Brother 15, and lots of good stuff. I interviewed Cameron, lots of people from Big Brother. Recently, Matt Hoffman as well. There's a lot of people you missed if you haven't been checking it out since the last season of Big Brother.
And me as well.
And of course, Brent, part 3.
Yes. I know, right? By the way, I am doing, as I mentioned previously, RuPaul's Drag Race, and you look for our podcasts. Probably we're going to be taping them every Friday night. RuPaul's Drag Race airs, All Stars 3 airs on Thursdays, so we're usually taping our podcast on Fridays this year, so you should have it out relatively soon. Me and Liana Boris and Mike Bloom are the ones covering RuPaul, and it's been a blast so far.
Yes. Check out my YouTube channel. We've been playing some games of Secret Hitler. It's a game of strategy, of cards, of social manipulation. And we got the aforementioned Matt Hoffman, Johnny Mack, Rob Sesternino. Lots of people have come on and played that game with us. It's very fun. Lots of lying and yelling involved. And we'll hopefully be doing some more of that as we have time in the future. So make sure you check that out. You can find that on my Twitter page at Armstrong Taryn. You can find Brent at One Lucky Gay. You can find Melissa at It's Melissa with 3 A's. And make sure you go to robhasawebsite.com, subscribe to this podcast and all of the others at Reality TV RHAP-ups. Make sure you go to the main feed, Rob Has a Podcast, for all of the episode coverage and all of that. Lots and lots of stuff coming your way. Very excited about all of it. So for Brent, Melissa, I am Taryn, not Armstrong Taryn, but just regular Taryn. We will see you next time.
Bye.